I went over the best strategies to get to Hollow Masters in the newest update with all the buffs and nerfs included. Alright boys, so we are going over the best strategies in the entire game. This is going to be one of those longer videos that we do, and we are starting with the easiest strategies in the game right now. These are the easiest strategies that can survive in Hollow Masters, so the more the video goes on, we are going to go harder strategies, but they're going to be at the same time better strategies. So this one is a really good strategy, but it's the easiest and probably the worst out of the strategies that we are going to see. So even though it will get you the Hollow Masters if you use it correctly, and it will win you most your games in the Hollow Masters, it's still probably the worst one out of all these strategies, but definitely the easiest. So the way the game goes, obviously, like, the harder strategies are probably going to be better and the easier strategies are going to be a little worse. So even though this is like a top 5 strat in the whole game and very easy to use and still really good, it's probably going to lose to some of the other Hollow Masters players using the better strats. So still a very good strategy to use, especially if you're below Hollow Masters. If you're below Hollow Masters, none of that information even matters, because as long as you get a half decent strat, which this is definitely way more than a half decent strat, you will win 90% of your games anyways. It's only when you get to Hollow Masters then you need to start worrying about, well, this strategy isn't as optimized as the other ones, the new nerfs and the buffs kind of affect that, all that kind of stuff. But if you're below Hollow Masters, you don't gotta worry about that kind of stuff. You can use pretty much any strategy, and this is a super basic one to start out with. So first of all, a boomer start. A boomer start is very easy. A lot of people actually use the middle path boomer start. It doesn't really matter. As long as you get a boomerang down and you don't leak a million lives doing it, you can do it several ways. I usually get 2 boomerangs, or I just get the first one and then get the glaive ricochet like I did here. It should be pretty easy. Also, the hero that we are using for this one is Quincy. I'm using Cyber Quincy because he just got buffed recently, but normal Quincy works okay, and pretty much any hero works for this strategy, but Quincy makes it so easy. So like I said, the first few strats are going to be easier and easier, so like any new player can use it, and Quincy just helps out so much. At the same time, he's super duper cheap and super reliable early game, where newer players and like kind of bad players, they kind of struggle the most early game. So Quincy is an amazing hero to pair with the strategy, and we'll go over it a little bit more as the rounds go on. So I'm just going to explain how I'm playing and what I'm doing along, just for the, you know, any newer players are watching, which usually these kinds of videos always do get newer players watching. I'm just going to be spaced ecoing, which means I'm using the eco that comes out the latest. So right now, blacks are the latest balloons to come out, so I'm using blacks. When yellows were the last balloons to come out, I was using yellows. When blues were the last balloons to come out, I'm using blues. So I'm just using the last one that's available, and we're going to get up to 500 eco. Now on the shorter maps, you want to get a little bit less probably, and on the longer maps, you want to get a little bit more. This is a nice little like medium length map, so we're going to get up to exactly 500 and just stop here. Now coming up, this is the only hard part of the entire strategy. It looks like it's going to be pretty easy for us here, but the wizard and getting down the necromancer. The necromancer is super important on this strategy, and we're going to make sure we have enough money to afford it by round 10 or 11. That's super important. Now, it's kind of hard to do on some maps. We have to get up, okay, I don't know why it's not letting me upgrade. We have to get up $3,000 in one round pretty much here, which seems a little hard, but we will be able to do it because we stopped our eco at exactly 500. So the only hard part of this entire strat is making sure you can afford the necromancer by round 11, which it seems like we're going to be able to do rather easily, even with him sending us like zebras and everything, and now we should just be completely fine. So getting up your necromancer takes a little bit of practice. I feel like if you're a new player, that's the only part of this entire thing that's going to be hard, especially if you have Quincy. It makes it a lot easier, especially with your boomerang in a good spot. You can see he's been sending me like zebras and stuff, trying to rush me this entire time, and it's been doing nothing because our wizard is overpowered, our boomerang is overpowered, and Quincy is actually really good early game, and she does, or he, I always call her a she because that kind of looks like a nice little like robo girl, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I always call him she, but Quincy obviously helps a lot early game. He makes things a lot easier, and then you can just eco every once in a while. Sometimes I like to eco with the purples, or with the rainbows, which you should always do on round 12, but eco is like a whole other like department here. Like I can't teach you how to eco, teach you how to use the strat, teach you how to farm all in one video. Those are all separate parts of the game. So as long as you get them up to like decent level, like eco up to 500, your farming is doing pretty good, you get down to necromancer in time, you should be good enough to get up into high ZOMGs or Hall Masters. So now that we have our basic premise, our basic setup down, we're just going to go ahead and farm up. Now, I always say, if you're below Hollow Masters, the best rushes to do is round 11 and round 13, or if you're below Hollow Masters. However, we are in Hollow Masters, so these people can probably survive most of those rushes. So what we're going to do, which is super easy on this strategy, since we have Quincy, since we have Boomerang, since we have Wizard, is we're just going to sit here and farm up and absolutely relax all the way until round 21. Now, we can sit here and farm. Sometimes if he rushes us, we can get up the more glaives, we can use a boost, we can use our Quincy abilities. Either way, just don't be shy about defending, because this strategy, like, it's pretty hard to die, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you have the Boomerang, which is really good, you have the Wizard, which is one of the best towers in the game, Cyber Quincy or regular Quincy has really good early game abilities, so you can just sit here and chill. I even like to put my Quincy on strong when the mobs come out, and you can just survive, like, doing whatever you want here. So I'm just going to go sit on my phone for the next few rounds, wait until round 21, and then we can pretty much get a guaranteed win. Oh, now we got our first rush. Perfect. So we can finally show what to do here. Now, this isn't that big of a rush. It's only one. So I'm just going to get up my turbocharge. We can probably defend it an array of ways. You can defend it pretty much a million ways with the Boomerang and everything. But I'm just going to get up the turbocharge so that we don't have to really worry about any other rushes later. You can see he's leaking to like AI. He doesn't really know what he's doing over here. And this is Hall of Masters. So if you're using the strat in any other lower kind of rank, it should be easy. It should be free. I guess he's not going to rush us again. I don't really know. Either way, like I said, you have to do little like minor adjustments in order to defend stuff, like get up the more glaives when they start getting feisty. But either way, you should be mostly good. So I'm just going to mostly focus on my farms and only a few rounds away from guaranteed winning this game easily. Alright guys, it's round 21. That, you know what that means, boys. You know what that means. So we're going to get a few Boomerangs down or why did I say that so weird? A few Boomerangs down just in case he counter rushes us, and we are just going to get ready to win the game here. So we're going to press down the fortify button. He's ecoing with zebras, which means he's going to have a ton of money, but he's not going to have a lot of money on hand to defend this, and we're just going to send him one fortified ZOMG. So what we do now is we press the bloom boost button. We can sell one of these farms. Make sure you don't sell, like, I would say more than one, because then you start getting into dangerous territory. Send a second one unfortified, and then just send a couple of BFBs. Now all we have to do is sit back, put your arms on your head, sit back in your chair, and relax while you see a free easy win. Now you don't want to relax too much, only like 2 pina coladas, not like 3 or 4 or anything, because if he sends you a second or like a counter rush or whatever, you want to sell these farms and upgrade the rest of your Boomerangs, maybe get up a Phoenix, like make sure the boost or whatever. You just want to make sure you can defend any kind of rush. But since this guy's such a noob, and since our strategy is so good at defending his early game rushes, all we have to do is sit back, relax. Why is that black? Okay, all right, you know what, let's ignore it. I first of all, I want to apologize to my community for saying black. That was really messed up. Either way, we're just going to sit back, relax. Okay, there we go. He got up a super maelstrom, so even on the off chance he does manage to defend this, it's going to be an easy cleanup overall. But I don't want to bloom boost. I actually want to give him a chance. I want to see if he can defend it, which it looks like he's actually doing pretty good. We're going to send one more, but that's super close. Yeah, no, he's going to go down. So we just took out a Hall Masters player so easily. I don't even think we lost a single life. So let's go on to a slightly harder strategy that hopefully will, you know, get a little bit more of a good game. Alright, heading into the second game, guys, we have the quote-unquote meta, so you should be familiar with this. It's a little bit harder than the last strategy, and more importantly, we're using a little bit of a harder hero, which is the Highwayman Jericho. He's a little more expensive these days. He's been nerfed a few times in the last few updates, but he's still a little bit, you know, harder than Quincy and Gwen, obviously. He's like the second tier of hard heroes, but still, you know, decently good and decently easy. So we should be good with him. We're using Tack in farm, which a lot of people have been using and a lot of people will be using until pretty much, I don't know, the death of this game, which is hopefully soon. And I'm using Wizard instead of Mortar. A lot of people use Mortar. Our opponent is probably going to be using Mortar, and because Jericho is so expensive, we're probably going to have to waste a boost here just to make sure we don't leak down to like 10 lives. This map, it goes kind of crazy. So we're on a hard map, we have a harder hero, and we have an all-around harder strat, so this should be fun. Our opponent, on the other hand, he has a pretty easy strat. He has Bomb. I'm assuming he has Mortar too, and probably Farm. So I'm going to guess he has Bomb, a sub, or not sub, I'm tripping. Bomb, Farm, and Mortar. Like, what is even going on over here? We can't even talk, bro. That's the Highwayman Jericho got me acting strange in this little this little pirate suit of his, this little nice belt buckle and everything. Either way, this guy's probably using Farm, probably using Mortar, probably using Bomb. I will be surprised if he's using anything else. We're using a pretty basic strat of Tack, Wizard, and Farm. This is almost the same as what we got going on last time, but it's a little bit harder and a little bit better. So we replaced the Boomerang with the Tack. The Tack has a few uses that are better than Boomerang. First of all, it has the Maelstrom, which while it is better than most of what the Boomerang can do, especially for like balloons and stuff like that, it doesn't really get pierce capped or whatever. The only way you can stop it is a lead, but you do have to micro it sometimes. So if you're a new player and you don't really know how to micro, Tack is definitely going to be a little bit harder for you than Boomerang. Boomerang kind of does most of the work for you, no matter where you put it, how good your micro is, like a bunch of other things. It can pop leads, it can do a bunch of stuff for you. But Tack, on the other hand, you kind of have to be more involved. You kind of have to like do it yourself. You have to get better positioning. You have to micro it sometimes. It doesn't have like lead or whatever if you're using this middle ability, so it's a little bit harder to use. But we also have Wizard, which is the same as the last time, which should be pretty easy. So Wizard is pretty much the same in all these strategies. He's just there for like decamoing. He's there for his Necromancer and everything. And then of course we have the Farm, which I mean, I would say most of these easy strategies use, especially in the lower arenas. Farm makes things so easy, because all you have to do is farm up to a decent amount, and then you can just sell the farms and rush them, kind of like what I did the last game. So that will work in pretty much every arena. That is why we are using farm in so many of these strategies, but maybe later on we'll throw in a nice little eco strat or something. So far so good on his side. He has Bomb and he has Farm, just like we predicted with this little biker bones hero, and we should be good to go. One really good thing about Highwayman Jericho is when we use his ability, there's a chance to sell one of his towers. If he's super low on money, it will sell one of his towers, which can do one of two things. It can either sell his farm over here, which will disrupt his money and makes it a lot easier for us to win, or it will sell his bomb, which at that point, I mean, it's pretty much GG. Like, we can just balloon boost and he should leak a ton of lives. So we're going to be kind of like paying attention to our ability over here and kind of like getting ready to balloon boost as soon as we see that we're about to use it, because we can you know, if he sells his bomb, which I don't think it will, probably sell his farm at this point. Either way, it will be good. We're kind of just yapping right now. We're speaking Japanese right now. Either way, we're looking decent. We're going to get down our Wizard. We kind of greeted for a plantation because it looks like both of us are kind of placing our defenses towards the lower end of the map, so we'll have extra time to get up money and everything. And yep, Mortar. We predicted his strategy down to the T, which this one is definitely going to be a little bit harder to do. Again, on this strategy, it's the same as last time. You have to get your Necromancer up by round 11, then you can just focus on your farms. And usually if you keep your eco around 500, you can do that pretty easily, which is why I always do that. Now, for the longer maps, we're going to do something which we did not do last time. Once we get up 2 plantations, we're actually going to get our eco up even more than the 500-600 that we usually keep it at. Even though we're kind of on the shorter map and everything, this one, because of his strategy, is probably going to go a little bit longer, so we are going to need a higher eco, which is a little different than what we did last time. First, let's just focus on getting both of these up to plantations, and then we'll make some adjustments to our strats. I don't know how he's farming. I don't know like what's going on over here. He's getting up a bank. Is he going? Okay, you know what? We're just going to ignore his side. I don't know what's going on over there. I don't want to know what's going on over there. But now that we have 2 plantations, we're actually going to eco a little bit, and we do have to be a little bit careful, because since he has a bank, he might like try and IMF loan us or something, which we definitely don't want to be involved in. That might get a little bit tricky. So let's you know, just be cautious. Let's get up a wall fire and everything, make sure our defenses is good, and we're going to try and eco up to 1,000. 1,000 is a good number. That's like a high enough eco to where you get a ton of money from it, but at the same time you don't lose out on a ton of your farms. So we're going to get up to 1k eco, continue farming. We're going to use our little ability here, which should sell this farm. Oh, I don't know, it sold his bomb. That's weird. Usually I thought the farm would be cheaper, but we're up 1k eco. Our farms are looking good. Everything is looking decent. Now we just have to look for an opportunity to strike. If he rushes us, of course we have to Maelstrom. We can get up a Phoenix. We still have 2 boosts left. There's a ton of ways to defend on the strategy, which is a little bit harder than the last strategy, but still very doable, very easy. Now the only reason these games are even like going to the point where we have to strategize or like try and like make up ways to rush him and talking about like the nerfs and the buffs and everything is because we're in Hall Masters. All of these players are really good and like they know what they're doing, but if you're below Hall Masters, especially below ZOMG, most of this stuff won't even apply. If you even do like 20% of the stuff I'm doing in this game, you will 100% win in like BFB Arena or Moab Arena or wherever you're at. So you know, if things seem too complicated for a new player, that's completely fine. You don't really need to know everything anyway. So he hasn't got up an IMF loan. That's good for us. His farming's kind of lacking, I'm not gonna lie. He's not doing too great. So let's send him a few Moabs. And let's even press the shiny little Kim Jong-un red button over here and see what it will do. And hopefully maybe we'll make something work. We're going to send some balloons, which you don't usually want to do against bomb. But I feel like this guy's kind of a bot. So we're going to see what happens. Yeah, we will get a boost out of him. Yeah, I don't think we're going to win, unfortunately, right there. But it was, you know, it's something. Oh, okay, we're going to get a rush. So I like to put my attack back here and get up overdrive. This is like what you'll see, what I'm talking about when things get a little bit harder, because we need to, first of all, make sure we don't die to all these leads. Make sure we Maelstrom in time, which I think we're looking good. Yeah, we're looking good. The leads do get extremely annoying on this strategy because they can like clog up your Maelstrom and everything. But our wizard is in a good spot and we should be able to deal with that. Okay, we can even so close to getting up the Maelstrom. We're so close to getting up our farms. That's what that noise was, if you were wondering. I'm disappointed. However, we're going to default back to our normal strategy. You guys are seeing nothing's really working right now. We can't really get past his defenses. We're kind of like, you know, fumbling with our farms and everything. So when that happens, we're just going to default back to our normal strategy, which is sit back and wait for round 22. And if you guys know this, we're only 1 round away. So I'm going to sell this. We're going to press our fortify button and we're going to send him a Moab. So that's pretty much what we like to do. And remember, always sell 1 farm, send him a second unfortified, and balloon boost immediately. Now we're just going to sit back, relax, open up some, you know, hentaihaven.com and just chill out while this guy is getting rushed. Let's get ready to time the button. It's kind of hard to time on ZOMGs. Also, we have this cool little skull like shark skin, which I'm a huge fan of. I don't know if you guys like it. I saw some mixed opinions on it, but we should be good to go. We have some extra money, so we're just going to send them some BFBs and everything to try and distract them, and the rest of the money here is going to be used to defend any kind of counters that he sends us. Always remember the balloon boost. Sometimes I forget to balloon boost after the first one, but we should be good to go. Let's see if he can defend. This is going to be a tough one for him, but it's actually going really well. Look how OP Mortar is, bro. That's why I hate playing against Mortar. It is completely overpowered, but I don't think it will be overpowered enough to defend this. I think he's going to go down. Yup. Oh, he's just going to give us a surrender. So this strategy, it was a little bit harder than the last one, a little bit better, and we still took the W. So let's go on to strat number 3. All right, guys, for our third strategy here, we have a really good Dartling strategy, probably my favorite Dartling strategy. We have Dartling, Ice, and Snowpat. Now this strategy is insane. All 3 tiers of the game. It's crazy early game, it's crazy mid game, and it is an insane late game strategy. The most impressive part about this strat is you actually don't need to get up Hydro Rocket Pods for a while, so you can just rely straight on the Ice and the Snowpat to start doing its work. You guys will see what I mean in a second. It is crazy. Now, this is a little bit harder than the last two strategies, but a lot better. So if you guys are looking for a harder strat once you get to Hall Masters, once you like kind of know what's going on with the game and you know how to rush and everything and know how to farm correctly, this is the strat for you, because it is like, you won't be seeing the strat a lot in Hall Masters. You won't be seeing a lot of people use it because they prefer like the other strategies like the Dartling one or the mortar and tack and all that kind of stuff. But this strategy beats them a lot of the time and is even crazier while being still pretty easy. Like, this is a relatively easy strategy for the most part, but it's still really, really good. It can beat meta a lot of the times. He is using Dartling Quincy, which is kind of like a mix-up of all the strategies we've been using, and I am 100% we are going to beat him. Okay, what is this, bro? Dartling and Druid at the same time? Okay, I don't really know what's going on over there, but I am super confident in our ability over here. If he even rushes us at all, we are going to wreck him. Like I was saying, this is the only Dartling strategy that actually doesn't require you getting up Hydro Rocket Pods for the first 13 rounds. Our main popping power is going to be in the Ice and the Snow Pet. It's actually not going to be in our Dartling. So we can just sit here and greed up on these farms and everything. Like, look how hard we're greeding. We already have a 2-0-0 farm on round 5 while ecoing the entire time. So we can just sit here and greed as much as humanly possible. And when he tries to rush us, our Snow Pet and the Ice are just going to be gobbling up. Yummy, 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 Mr. Krabs. See, they're going to be gobbling up those balloon rushes. It's going to be crazy. All right, we're going to get our Ice down. I think, what is a good spot? I think right here is right here maybe. I don't know. I think right here actually, since it hits both parts of the track. I don't really know. Maybe I should put it on the left side. But we are just going to get this baby up, and he is going to help us all the way until, well, probably like round like 19 or something. That's probably when we're going to start needing getting our rocket pods. This baby right here, the Ice Shards, is crazy. The Ice by itself is kind of mid, and the Snow Pat by itself is kind of mid, but when you put them together, they will start shredding. Another huge thing over here about the Snow Pat and everything is he has this first ability, which is pretty much like a mini boost for the Snow Pat and the Ice. So you have 3 regular boosts over here, and then you have this little boost that comes back every once in a while with the Snow Pat and the Ice together. So you just have so many options to easily defend everything. It is crazy. And we are also greeting super duper hard on our eco and our farms over here. We're just going crazy with this because we know even if he rushes us this round or the next round, we can defend it. We will not be able to do this on the normal Dartling strategy, even though it's kind of funny because he has a Dartling strategy where he doesn't need to upgrade either because he's relying on the mortar, which is super rare to see. But us, on the other hand, we can just keep on getting farms, keep on getting up eco and everything, and he cannot stop us. Okay, finally our first rush. Let's use our ability there, and look how hard we're going to shred this rush. Yeah, no, that is not going to stand a single chance against us. That just got shredded. Holy. And if he rushes us again, we can boost, we can get up, you know, a second Dartling or a third Dartling or something along those lines. We are going to be good to go. So here comes another rush. Let's just go ahead. Oh, I thought that one was going to be bigger. That's why I boosted. Unfortunately, that one was a lot smaller. But if he re-rushes again, look how much money he's wasting on us, and look how easily we are packing up these rushes. We haven't lost a single life from any of his rushes. We did use 1 boost, which is unfortunate, but you know, it's better to use them and not die than to not use them and die. So we're going to be good either way. It seems like he's just completely given up on rushing us. That's how good the strategy is. Let's get our eco up a little bit more just to like further entice him. Like, I know you want to rush me. I know you want to waste more money rushing me. That is the beauty of this strategy, is we can just sit here and defend everything. And a lot of the times, like, look at the strategy, guys. It doesn't even look that amazing. But we have our Dartlings and we have our Ice over here, and this will destroy any kind of push he sends us. So even though it doesn't even look that great and it looks like a super cheap defense, your opponent is going to be rushing you over and over again because he thinks that same thing, and you are just going to gobble up the rushes like a Thanksgiving turkey, bro. Like, it's going to be too easy. So let's get our eco up to about 1k here, and then get up a little marketplace action going on, and we should be good to go. I predicted round 19 was when we are going to need to get it up, but nope, I was wrong because it's around 20 and we still don't need to get up our Hydro Rocket Pods yet. So let's send him a little bit of a rush. Also, one other really good thing I like about this is how much the Snowpat does to Moabs. Like, he pushes them back the entire time, which means even though we have a Moab on our screen, we still don't need to get up the Hydro Rocket Pods. So look at this, bro. Okay, you didn't really get to see it because we popped it too quickly, but he will push back Moab after Moab after Moab. He pushes like 3 or 4 at a time, so he is just insane. Now, it is round 21, so we're going to do the same exact strategy we did for the other 2 games and send him a ZOMG and then sell a farm, send him an unfortified ZOMG. Unfortunately, like, it's kind of boring winning the same way every single game. Maybe he'll like defend this and give us something more exciting, but that's just how it gotta be sometimes, bro. That's just how it gotta be. If there's a way that's working, don't switch it up, and this will win you 90% of the games below Hall Masters, and honestly, it wins you 90% of the games in Hall Masters. Look, guys, because all the money we have, we still have most of our farms here, if not all of our farms, a pretty good eco still, and look how much we sent him on this side of things. So because this strategy is so cheap and so good, we don't have to waste money on the early rocket pods, which means we will have so much more money throughout the game to just destroy him. So we're going to try and go for a finishing blow here. It looks like he's selling all of his things. Hopefully, yes, I was about to say, hopefully it's for a huge counter, which may look a little bit scary, but because we had so much money, so many farms left over, it is going to be an easy cleanup for us. And he's even selling more to rush us even more. We're not even going to send him purples or anything. We want him to send us more. We want him to send us a nice hard defense so we can just show how good the ice is. Boom, we defend everything, and he goes down the same way the other 2 went down with this crazy strat. Alright, boys, with our last strategy, the hardest strategy in the bunch right now, some of you will probably disagree with that, but I think for sure it is the hardest strat in here for newer players. We have the Druid strategy. Now, this is probably also the best strategy that we've talked about so far, as it's been in the meta pretty much every single season, and it just recently got like kind of a buff too, so it is still in the meta. So this strategy has been in the meta pretty much every season in the game. It's still a really good tower right now, and if you use it correctly, it is incredibly hard to beat. So that is why I am saying this was probably the best strategy in the entire bunch. Let me know if you guys agree with that, or if you think one of the other strategies that we talked about was a little bit better, but this is also the hardest strategy in the bunch. Now, I won't hear it, boys. If you guys start commenting, oh, Druid strat is easy, what are you talking about? Anyone can use that, bro. It's not, bro. For newer players, they are not going to be able to master the Druid strategy easily. The other strats are way easier to master for newer players than the Druid strategy. Even experienced players are going to die a lot more often with this Druid strategy than like Tack or like even like the Dartling Ice. Like, the other strats are way easier to survive on than this Druid strategy, and here is a few reasons why. First of all, for newer players, the biggest problem with the strategy is money. Like Mr. Krabs, bro. The submarine and everything costs a lot, so a lot of the times if you're not keeping track of your money early on, you won't have enough to defend round 11, you won't have enough to defend round 13. You need to know when to boost, when to get up more submarines, when to upgrade your Druid and everything. It's just a lot of complicated work for just the first easy defense. Now, I don't know why this guy is playing at the local Wendy's in the trash can or whatever, but he needs to get it together. Game is yearly updated. I mean, he thinks that the game updates once a year, but with this Wi-Fi, I think it probably just takes him a year to update his game. That's probably why his name is like that. Seems like he got his ugly ass sister off the Wi-Fi. Oh, I'm not allowed to say that. Whoopsie. Maybe we'll edit that out if we forget. But he got his family off the Wi-Fi. He's doing great. Now, with this strategy, I forgot what I was even saying. The money is the biggest issue. Round 11, round 13, while they're kind of easy to defend, he might die here, actually. What's going on over here? I didn't know Churchill was this good on this map. He's kind of fragging out right now. Hopefully he does die, because I don't really feel like playing a super long game with this strat. Oh, well, okay. Well, that guy sucks. We're just going to go into this special game mode to talk and show off the strategy a little bit more, since ranked is kind of a mixed little bag right now. So like I was saying the other game, the money makes this strategy a huge issue. Now that we're in Play with Fire, that kind of erases that issue, since we won't have any trouble with money and we can show off the strategy to the full extent. But a lot of people are saying like, ooh, all you have to do is get a submarine, get a reactor, you'll be good on round 11, round 13. Even if you do manage to survive round 11 and round 13, there becomes a huge issue later on, which even the best players struggle with, and that's if you even get to that point of the game, because the Druid does kind of die the early game rushes a lot. Even the best players will struggle to survive, and even if they do survive and struggle to survive a little bit, you will have no money to defend DDTs. DDTs either take a lot of money to defend on the strategy, or they take a lot of skill, both of which lower arena players do not have. So when they're using the strategy, they're either going to be out of money by DDTs, or they're just not going to be good enough to micro the submarine and the middle path in order to defend the DDTs. So with this strategy, if you're using it, I would either recommend being really good with money and farming, like better than most Hall Masters players probably, or you just try and get the game with nice and early. Getting the game over with nice and early is probably your only option if you're using the strategy in the lower arenas, unlike all the other strategies we've shown today, which just proves this is the hardest strategy in the bunch. Now obviously there'll be a few nerds disagreeing with that, saying the strategy is easy and they can do this with their eyes closed and they're like bottom 10% Hall Masters or whatever, but it's pretty hard, bro. It is pretty hard. I will admit it. Any other competent player will admit this is a hard strategy for newer players, especially since Superstorm is like $65,000. Like, bro, who is affording this Superstorm? But oh, it's actually 60,000, and I'm also pretty sure they buffed it. So if money wasn't an issue, this strategy is really good. But it's just not a good strategy to start off with, especially if you're new. It's not the best strategy to master. It's going to take a long time to master, and it's just a lot better to master the other strategies in this video, and a lot easier too. So I wouldn't recommend this strategy, but if you're like a pro Hall Masters player, I mean, there's not even any point because you probably already know about this strategy, but this is a good strat to learn if you already know all the other strats. You won a competition, you want to challenge. I'm about to die with it. That's crazy. And I guess that's it, boys. Make sure to sub if you aren't subbed up already, and make sure to let me know what your favorite strategy is. This guy's face bombing me. Have you guys ever seen anyone die on round 15 with $100,000? Well, now you have, but I mean, I'm kind of glad I did, because I was getting bored of that Druid strategy. That's another downside of it. It's boring.